This is FinTech Futures reporting from Finovate Spring, and I'm here with Mike Jorgensen from US Bank. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's great having you here. How have you been enjoying the conference so far?
I have. It's been awesome to be able to connect with people, especially in person.
Excellent, great. So would you like to just give a quick brief introduction to yourself and your role then?
Yeah, I'm Mike Jorgensen from US Bank. I'm over the emerging solutions and strategy at US Bank, which is dealing with a lot of fintechs and how we would embed our payments into their processes with them.
Excellent. So yeah, you're here discussing the rise of real-time payments then. So how much has RTP adoption grown over the last few years, and particularly in the US?
It's really changed a lot. It started back in 2017. US Bank was one of the first to do a transaction on the network. Over the last few years, you've really seen adoption change. I think it's because there are more banks that accept. I think that there's now an appetite too. There's something called COVID that happened, right?
Sure.
And with COVID, I think that people changed behaviors pretty quickly. They said that they wanted to do things differently. It's really interesting if you look at the payment methods that we have out there today, ACH, wire, even the old check, right? 40% of some of the payments that are still happening with businesses today are done by check. It's shocking to me. And I think that with COVID, people are saying, why are we doing that? And now there's an acceleration. And the benefit really is, you start looking at real-time payments, it helps with instant. It's always on, right? There's always going to be the ability to make the payment. And the data and the other benefits that come along with it are just so much better than the other payment rails. So we're starting to see that adoption accelerate.
Excellent. And what are some of the key use cases that you're seeing and some of the trends maybe in the RTP space at the moment?
Really interesting trends. We're seeing, and I'll use a couple terms. We used to see people really focus on their back office payments. How can I make my payables and receivables better? We're seeing with real-time payments that customers are saying, you know what, I want you to help me with my front office stuff. How do you make my client experience better so that I can differentiate as a company? One example, there's a large automotive dealership in the United States, Lithia Motors. They have an online presence called driveway.com. Driveway basically goes out and gives a bid for people's cars and says, hey, I want to bring your car and bring it into my inventory. And so you as a consumer would say, okay, great, I'll go ahead and sell my car. Well, when they would go pick up the car previously, they would say, yeah, we're going to take your car and we promise that we'll pay you. You'll get some money in a couple days through ACH or check or some other method. Well, now with real-time payments, we're allowing driveway.com to be able to click a button on their phone or their iPad and to be able to make the money happen before the car leaves the driveway. So that's a differentiator for them. They can go to a client, a consumer, and say, we have the best experience on the market, and they're using real-time payments in their front office to make that happen.
Excellent. And how about the use case you're discussing then with Apex FinTech Solutions? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, another great example, another use case that we see. So if you think about a broker-dealer, a broker has, you have a brokerage account and somebody will want to move money back and forth between your checking account or your savings account and your broker account. Well, with Apex, they're coming to market now with real-time payments and saying, you don't have to wait for those accounts to be funded anymore in a matter of days. You can do it in a matter of seconds. And so they're taking that to their base of brokerages that they support, because they're a fintech that supports brokerages, and saying we can now make your payments available and the funding for those accounts available within seconds on the same day, even on bank holidays or on weekends, right? So it's becoming a differentiation for Apex so that they can say we do something different than anybody else in the marketplace.
And one of the key applications now for RTP is Crossborder. So what are you seeing in that sense then?
It's a really interesting space. We're monitoring that really closely because, as you probably know, with real-time payments, the clearinghouse, they're largely anchored in the domestic United States, and that's really where they want to get their hold and move forward. But with the cross-border, there's some value that happens, and the value might actually surprise you. It might not be in the actual speed of the payment. It's more in how that transaction is then reported, or what the company that's sending the payment can see as far as, where does it stand within the network? What was the actual going rate at the time that I sent that transaction? So at present, US Bank and many of the other banks are simply watching and trying to learn on how the application for cross-border will happen, so that when that mass availability is there, that we can then adopt and take advantage of it.
Excellent. And from a consumer's perspective then, so what benefits are they going to tangible benefits they're seeing from RTP?
Very similar to a business, actually. So if you think about the consumer world and what we see, all of us are used to doing Venmos and PayPals and having real-time instant things, even to be able to put some social media, I made a payment to my friend type thing. So consumers are used to that. They're used to getting paid quickly if they want to. They can even pay a premium on many of the services today to get paid right away. So with real-time payments, we're actually accommodating what their expectations are. They're getting their payment faster. But then the other thing is it's a guaranteed payment. It has the right information that goes along with it so that they can see what it was for. And it's something that is very ubiquitous and can happen anytime, 24/7, 365. So that experience for the consumer is something that's also a differentiation for many companies too.
Excellent. So just to wrap up then, kind of RTP aside, how do you see the payment space evolving into the future?
Yeah, so we're at an interesting place right now in history, I think. This is the first major innovation we've had on the payment rails in what, 30, 40 years? And as we see that innovation happening, I think you're going to see a lot of the establishment say, what do I want to do with my payment rails into the future? Real-time payments is going to be an anchor to that. I think there will be other payment rails that will come along that will complement it and to be able to help us get to a state where things are much more digital. You see this happening in Europe and other areas of the world where they don't have checks. They don't have things that really are anchored here in the United States. And I think that we're moving to that point now here too as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with you, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.